Hello and good evening to Facebook Live here at Worcester Bosch. Tonight we're going to talk about all things Greenstar 8000. And indeed here we have the top of the range, the style product from the 8000 range. What I'd like to do this evening is talk to our panel of guests who will be answering all of your questions and queries that we receive online this evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, guys. If I can first of all start with a question. Martin, what was it that made us think that the old classic range of boilers, the Greenstar Classic, why did we feel we had to change it?
Well, it had done its time. It was 15 years out there. 2004 was the first one we made. Generally, product life cycles are anything between 5 and 10 years. Mm-hmm. It hadn't dropped off in popularity in any way, and it's still the most popular condensing boiler ever sold. There's some, just of the CDI, there'll be some 1.5 million installed in people's homes. Yeah, it's a big boy. So to actually take the decision to not sell it any longer and redesign it wasn't taken lightly. But what we've done, I think, is quite groundbreaking. It has all the appearances and things of a phone, really. It's very modern. It sits with kitchen appliances like they are today. It's got this rounded corners, this cylindrical interface for the end user, rather. Yeah. But it's full of the familiar components that installers would be aware of, with some slight refinements and things like that. So a lot of research was done. It was initially launched in Germany about 4 years ago to great acclaim, and they don't tend to have boilers on show in Germany. They tend to be in a basement.
Indeed, yeah.
We're very much, they're on display, they're in a kitchen, we have smaller properties, etc. So we did a lot of market research if it was acceptable or not, and it was very, very positive. And thankfully, the launch has taken place, and all the feedback has been really good.
It has, yeah, it's been very good.
Great, yeah.
Colin, I just want to introduce you to Colin, part of the product management team that developed the Greenstar 8000.
Ask me a question, Barry.
Yeah. Colin, what was the main criteria of developing the new 8000 range?
Oh, good question. I think, as Martin said, replacing a product like the CDI Classic that's been in the market for some 14, 15 years, a very well-loved product. When we initially spoke to installers, there was actually quite a lot of nervousness from installers looking at these chaps because it was such a well-loved product and is a well-loved product. So the main criteria was to really continue from the success of the CDI, to keep all of those positive attributes, such as the heat exchanger. We get lots of comments about it being solid, robust, bulletproof, all those kind of things. Taking what's worked really, really well and then improving on those few things that did need improvement, the PRV at the front, the higher power outputs, the modulation. So that was really the main, I'd say, the main focus of the project. Indeed. And hopefully that we got good feedback and hopefully we've done a good job. Okay,
excellent. Colin briefly mentioned our two guests on the end of the panel. We have Matthew there and Richard, and these are actually installers who have actually, despite the fact that it's only been out a few weeks, have actually installed quite a number of Greenstar 8000 boilers. So tell me, Matthew, if you could, what was your first feeling when you opened the box?
Slight nervousness, because as Colin was mentioned, the CDI Classic was the staple boiler. Me personally, I've fitted somewhere in the region of about 500 of them. So to jump from the CDI Classic to the 8000, a little bit of nervousness. Then as soon as we installed one, obviously the pipe work's all exactly the same. The main thing for me is the interface and how easy it is to set up, to commission, just to range rate the heating down in some properties. It's like I said, it's like the CDI, but they've just improved on all the slight little negatives that we had with the CDI Classic. Yep. So for me, it's by far the best boiler on the market at the minute. Okay, brilliant. Richard, any comments?
For myself, I've been in the industry since 2003 and seen the CDI Classic when it was first brought in before the condensing boiler rules came in. And from fitting it already, I actually replaced the CDI Classic, one of the first ones that I fitted, replaced it for the new style, and it was easy to sell because of the look of it. It could go in a kitchen without having to build a special unit to go around it. It looked the part in the kitchen already.
Yeah.
So when they've had the kitchen replaced, it's now on show as a focal point in
Really?
there. So that's it's done its job in that
Excellent.
respect. And the familiarity for myself, yes, it looks very different. You open it up, but for us as installers, I found that quite comforting that we've still got the WB5 in there. There's a few little changes with regards to the gas valve and the Venturi, but that's to improve the boiler.
Yeah.
But it's familiar, and that was good from our part.
Superb. Thanks, Richard. By all means, if I could mention to you guys that this evening is all about questions from yourselves. So please don't hesitate. Let's get the questions coming in, and where best possible, we'll obviously answer those questions as we go along. The first one that's in is from Jamie Gibbons. The question is, good question. I think this probably might be for you, Colin. Is there going to be any option for multi-zone controls via the Worcester Smart Control?
Yes.
In a nutshell, yes.
Yeah. So similar to today, we've got our Greenstar wiring centre that is compatible with the 8000. And if I take the example of the regular boiler, so the life appliance, that can be used with the Greenstar wiring centre. We're just in the process of releasing a second pretty much identical unit to the Comfort Plus 2 RF, which is the programmable room thermostat. So you can have a set of those for a multi-zone. So you could have your upstairs, downstairs in conjunction with the wiring centre. So yeah.
So Jamie's obviously getting his money worth this evening. He's asked another question especially as underfloor heating and multiple zones are a huge thing in properties right now. So it's ideally suited for those type of properties.
Precisely, yep.
Brilliant. Okay. Philip Barzi has just put PRV. So I'm assuming he's asking where the PRV is situated within the appliance. Can anybody help?
I think we should show him.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
Come on, Saj. Show me.
Drum roll, no drum roll.
Shall I talk them through it, Saj, whilst you're doing it?
Yeah, so the case, for those of you that don't know, there's one screw at the bottom to take the case off. Then there is 2 clips. Oh yeah, that would help. There's one screw at the bottom, for those of you that don't know. 2 green clips. You simply push up. The bottom comes away, you lift it off. The next set of green clips you see are up here. Push those into the side. The fascia comes down. Once you get the siphon out the way, bear with me. It's done.
You're only live on TV, Saj, you know.
So yeah, the PRV, as you can see, has been moved to the front of the appliance now. So it's a big win for you guys as well.
So is it a fair comment, Saj, that anything that is green is a touch point?
Yeah, so everything green you see is something the installer will be interacting with to get into the boiler.
Okay.
You probably can't see it from there. So once you've got the panel down, the next green bit is the buttons on the siphon, which actually locks into place so it can't accidentally fall out. And then the next point is your electrical connections at the back, which also house the key for the wireless controls.
Okay, thank you, Saj. Another question coming, guys. Neil Mortis, does the 8000 still have the 14-minute startup process as of the old CDI?
Is that the siphon Phil is referring to?
I think it will be, yeah.
Answer, Neil, is yes, it does. He says, which is there as a safety measure, just to ensure that the trap is full of water. And I believe you can, within the installer menu, you can switch that off. So if the trap is already full of water, you can go into the installer menu. If I take the example of the style, hold down the two buttons to go into the installer menu and go to special functions, I think it is. You can switch it off there. But the answer is yes, it is. It is still included, yeah.
Okay. Probably a question for you, Martin, if I could, from Matt Bishop. Where did the number 8000 come from?
Right, Matt, this is a good one. It probably stems back about, 30 30 years, let's go back somewhere around there, when we came out with the car analogy for the standard efficiency boilers. Okay. So we had, back in the early 90s, the CDI boilers, a standard efficiency range of combis. Then we introduced a second different version which we called the I, and then in the middle we slotted an SI. So it's a car analogy, and worked very well with the current Greenstar range, and it was easy to, you didn't have to explain it basically. So we thought we'll carry on with the same car analogy, this time though using BMW style car analogies. Okay. So an 8000 and a 4000, if you to ask an end user or an installer which would you think is the higher featured boiler, okay, it generally comes back it's the 8000. So the higher the numeric number, the value, the more featured the boiler is, and then we go to a 4000, which of course is. Okay.
Can I just say, Barry, that other car manufacturers are available?
Are available at a price though. Okay. Alex Davis has said in it, and it's an interesting question because I know this does come up a lot in the industry with all boilers really. Is there still loads of plastic?
Is there still loads of plastic?
And I suppose the question is, what's the advantage? Is there an advantage of plastic?
There is
Weight
plastic.
Being one?
Yeah. There are people who know we've used plastic components for a long time. We've had a lot of success with those components. We've made various improvements to those components. The hydraulic block itself is a plastic unit. We've actually managed to reduce the lift weight of the appliance compared to the CDI by about 5 kilograms.
That's good. There's a question about that, the lift weight.
And that's due to the structure not being sheet metal now. So that's a positive thing. But yes, so we still do use plastic, and it's it's a material that's used in many markets.
Yeah. You've got great respect and great experience using plastic for the last 25, 30 years. I remember the days when plastic pipe work under the floor or even feeding radiator systems was sort of frowned upon or not accepted. Yeah. And it's just, business as usual stuff. Some manufacturers prefer to use brass or copper. That saves them on tooling costs and investment costs. We prefer to do it from a gravelin or a plastic type base. Okay. And, they're pressure tested to 50 bar and various things like this. So it's arguably stronger than copper when it comes to pressure.
Plastic's tested to 50 bar?
Indeed, the O-rings and the clips and things of that nature, yeah.
Well, every day's a school day for me, because I didn't know that. Okay. We have a question here. I think it's from a member of the public, a house owner, from Mr. Parker. And the question is, as a CDI customer, that's very good, thank you, what are the benefits of upgrading my boiler, and does the increase of price justify the upgrade? I'm assuming there is an increase in price. Might be wrong.
There is a slight increase in price. It's slightly minimal. It's not a lot. But for the customer to be able to use the interface on the boiler, I think that offsets the increase in cost. So yeah, it's slightly more than the CDI Classic. Not a lot in it. Yeah.
Okay.
So can I add to that one, Barry?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that agreed, yeah, it's certainly aesthetics, which we found within the research that we did are actually very important to many customers. Design is becoming more important in the household, so why not have a fabulous looking boiler on show? For those customers that don't care about design, and that's fair enough, and that's very much what the life is about. We've improved the efficiency compared to the CDI. We've reduced the noise output. We've had lots of really positive comments about it being much quieter. And as you say, the interface, there's a lot of work gone into the interface to make it really easy to use, really easy to understand, a great range of controls. Menus in there for energy efficiency of both gas and electric, so hopefully that answers the question.
The NOx and the CO emissions are reduced as well, but I think we'd be the first to say I probably wouldn't replace my boiler until it was irreparable or I was repurposing the kitchen or something like that. If it's still working and still getting serviced, all the parts are available, then I would find no reason to change it. We take great pride in our boilers lasting beyond the norm. So.
Yeah. Bit of a cheeky question here from Mark Vinnie Vincent. He's saying, Barry Bosch, when are you going to give us a song? Probably later on, Mark, in the pub, if that's okay with you. But we have a question from Lee Nichols. Can you show me how to range rate the central heating? On the Classic, it was a bit confusing. Saj, is this for you?
Sorry, we can't show you because these boilers don't have power, but I'm pretty sure there's videos on our YouTube page, or you can always ring into technical support tomorrow morning. I'm in at 8 o'clock. I can talk you through it over the phone, not a problem. Great. Or we can even email something out if you wish. Okay, thank you, Saj. I think another homeowner here, Elaine O'Brien, if I have the right name there. I have a Hive at home. Is the 8000 compatible?
Yes. Yes, it is.
In a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell, yes, it is. And going back to the range rating question as well, what Saj mentioned there, it's probably worthwhile mentioning that the modulation ratio is 1 to 10 compared to 1 to 3 of the CDI. So there's probably a case or an argument there that in some cases you might not need to range rate the appliance because of course it is going to modulate down to to potentially as little as 3 kilowatts.
Okay.
The Hive, though, just picking up on that as well, any of the controls are on the market are compatible. You can connect anything you want to it. Mm-hmm. You'd get better benefit connecting one of the Worcester controls to it, an internet-connected control we make, such as the Bosch Easy. The Hive is a great bit of kit, but it can't interface as thoroughly with the boiler as the Easy can. It can't modulate the boiler temperature downwards precisely to match the heating system. It essentially will turn the boiler on or off when the rooms reach temperature, and you can control it, of course, remotely from your phone, etc. So great bit of kit, works well with the boiler, but if you really wanted to get a partner to it, the Bosch Easy would be a suggested choice.
Okay, okay. Good question here from Liam Armstrong. The question is, does powder coating a boiler after purchasing, does it make the warranty void?
I think we've had similar questions over the years regarding, flues and things like that. And tell me if I'm wrong, Martin, but I think as long as the paint that they're using is up to the job, for instance, the side panels on this are removable, another kind of good feature for the installer and for the service engineer. I think we would say that, if you want to powder coat them red, as long as you're not doing any damage to the product, as long as you're not changing its performance features in any way, then...
Nothing nowadays, condensing boilers run at such a low temperature. None of these panels have any danger. You could rest your hand on there all day, all night.
They're not hot.
So they don't even really need the heat-resistant materials that they did of 20 years ago. It wasn't unusual to see people... They used to use motorcycle exhaust paint, actually, to spray flue terminals on listed buildings and things. But the flue gases in those days were 150 centigrade.
Of course. Nowadays,
they're more like 50 or 60 centigrade. So, yeah, it isn't an issue. And if you want to customise it, and we have seen some people do that, not necessarily with these, more so with the older boilers. I've seen Union Jacks. We even made pink boilers for... cancer awareness days and things like that. So, it's not a worry. It can be done. Okay.
Good question here. Mark Vinnie Vincent has replied to my answer to his singing. He's just said, ha-ha. So next time you're down, Mark, maybe we'll have a sing-song together. But a question here from Julian Bland. We installed the Life recently. The customer, thankfully, as well as ourselves, we're extremely impressed with the noise output. And I have heard that a lot mentioned on the feedback. Could barely hear it running. Great job, Worcester Bosch. And the noise has been a tremendous feedback for us, hasn't it?
I had an email off a customer that I fitted one 4 weeks ago. They're obviously delighted with the boiler install, but they specifically emailed me because of how quiet the boiler was. They couldn't believe it, and the performance in the hot water. And they had an old CDI Classic in that we took out.
So it's hardly from a loud beginning in the first place, but it's now even less, quiet. It's fantastic.
If I can just add to that, as an installer as well, the quietness, I do believe, comes from the combustion chamber cover that's on there as well.
It certainly helps.
So when you're commissioning these boilers or indeed servicing them in 12 months' time, all the exterior cases,
Yeah.
the front, the sides, the top and the bottom can come off and be moved out the way. You can still do all your air intake tests and everything with this combustion chamber on. So the exterior cases aren't now an integral part of it, as the CDI Classic was, where you had to do the tests with the casing on. So now we've got this double casing, which is obviously helping the improvement in the sound as well.
Would that, you half dismantled the boiler moments ago, Saj, would that put you on the spot too much if you...
I can't reach the top.
Oh, of course you can't, I beg your pardon.
Maybe Matt can help me.
don't.
Sarge, I have the same problem, but it's a problem I've put up with all my life. Don't worry about it.
We'll lift you up.
Let's do it. So I'll tackle the lower bits.
Do you want to stand on my shoulder?
So a microphone, so that's worth it.
Thank you. So the top panel, once the front panel is off, the top panel is only hooked in at the back. Don't know whether you can see those there. Your side panels just pull towards you. And that's it, your boiler is stripped down. It's just one screw to get into the combustion chamber as well for when you're doing your checks in there. And that's how easy you can get into the boiler. All you need is a screwdriver in your pocket and you're in.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sarge. Okay. Thanks very much. It does have its benefits being under 5 foot, you know.
I'm sure it does. I'm yet to find those benefits.
Absolutely. No, there are some, trust me. An interesting question from Dean Gatenby. I hope I've pronounced that right. He says, the appliance is certainly a break from the normal, i.e. a white box on the wall, and it looks terrific, looks great. But what he'd like to know is, and certainly the girls in the WI office down in Worcester would like to know is, who the heck is going to win Love Island? Don't ask me, I don't know.
I'm very sorry.
Matt, who's going to win Love Island?
I think for me, I've got to say, I am unfortunately rather hooked, so...
Really? Get out of town.
I love it, the wife hates it. We haven't got long left because it's on at 9. And I've got to say, Tommy and Molly May for me.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I haven't got a clue what you're talking about, but I'll take your word for it.
I'll show you in the morning, Barry.
But one of the questions, Matt, while you've got the mic, we had previously sent in, was from an installer's point of view, if they want to install the 8000 in their own home, are there anything like we used to have, cashbacks, etc.?
Yeah, certainly from our point of view, one thing we absolutely love to see is installers such as these guys having our products in their own property. One thing we've always done, delighted to say we've continued it with the 8000 range, is £250 cashback via a claim form. Literally, it's an online claim, very, very quick, simple and easy to do, which is literally submit your details online, copy of the merchant invoice, upload it onto our website. You'll get a call from your local technical area sales manager just to verify everything is there. And then we'll literally send you a back transfer for the £250 for the boiler.
Simple as that?
Simple as that.
Cash back as well?
Cash back as well as a fantastic looking boiler.
For those of you that don't know, Matt Ledger is a legend in his own right. He's one of our business support managers for the accredited installer scheme based down in the southeast. So tell me, Matt, be honest, because I know you haven't got a dishonest bone in your body. What's been the feedback from WAIs?
I've got to be honest, there was a lot of dubious thoughts initially when some of the initial responses were put out into the marketplace. I think for me, the Classic has probably had the most loyal following out of any boiler ever in the UK. So I think for us as a manufacturer to change it as radically as we have is a very, very brave move. As I said, people were full of trepidation before they actually fitted the product. But I think once you take the initial front case off, it is literally like a comfortable pair of shoes. It's very, very familiar internally to what we've always had with the Classic. So people were scared, people were dubious, but once they get their hands on it, once they actually get to fit one or come on a training course here, I think people automatically will fall in love with it. It's really has improved on the Classic. It's taken it another step up for me.
Okay. Thanks there, Matt. One question, which is, I know is an interesting question, and it was a question that guys in the product team, you actually thought long and hard about this. And a question coming from Lee Gibbs, thanks Lee, who was asked the question, is the silver flue going to have a silver collar rather than the white one that's currently supplied? Good question.
It is a good question, and we've had a couple of calls and comments about it. It's not something that was an oversight. We did think about it initially, and it's quite interesting because you see, so this is if you imagine the flue on the top of the board going through the wall, we obviously provide this surround, which you can use if you choose to as a kind of finishing ring. That's white. So the question there is, should it be silver? We found that in some households, depending on what colour the wall was, the silver seemed to over-emphasise the flue and didn't look right. Whereas other properties, again, dependent on what colour the wall is, that a silver does look right. So it is something we're looking into. Right? We haven't got it just yet. How we choose to do it, so whether we make it a part-numbered accessory just for that ring, whether we choose to include a second ring in the box, yet to be defined. But
it is a dilemma, I think, when you design something as fanciful and so forward-thinking. Flue rings, even system filters underneath the boiler traditionally is where they go. You know, we are considering things like you see for iPhone cases where you can clamp around to finish it even more, because it looks so lovely, and why have something going back to a white collar or to a black system filter or a brass one or whatever anybody chooses to use. So we will probably have to look more closely at the tiny little bits of the finish of the whole system, really, to really make it look pretty unusual. Okay,
I hope that's answered your question, Lee. Another Lee, Lee Nichols, and this is, I think it's a very good question. Can the auto-filling link be used on the eye boiler? As I would assume that's our existing eye boiler.
Unfortunately not at the moment. We saw an opportunity with the 8000, and it's the first time, as many installers will know, that we chose to fit a pressure sensor on the hydraulic block, and that enables us to show the pressure of the boiler on the display. Obviously, we wanted to take that one step further and get some proper use out of it, and came up with the concept of the intelligent filling system. So on the eye today, we don't have a pressure sensor. So next question, could we produce a kit that perhaps includes that sensor? We could. It's something we are looking into. We then just need to consider the complexity. Well, do you then need to replace the control board to have different software? So at the moment, the answer is no, it's not compatible. But certainly the need for that product across our range of system boilers is it's the same set of needs.
Okay, a good question. I know it's one that's been asked a lot, and I'm quite sure that possibly our installers, Richard and Matthew, would find beneficial. The question really from Joshua Jackson, what's the maximum flue length of the 8000? Is it the same as the CDI?
No, it's not. It's much better.
Really?
So if I take the comparison of the 30 kilowatt CDI, max horizontal flue length with 100 mil flue is 9.7 meters, I think, today, compared to the 30 kilowatt life or style, which is a maximum of 17 meters. So it's more than double as good. So double as good, is that the correct way to put it? So yeah, much better, and that goes across the range as well. And that's just with the 100 mil flue. With the 125 mil flue, I think it's as much as 25 or 27 meters. So yeah, vastly improved flue length.
Brilliant. Matt, do you know somebody called Laurie Irving?
I do.
You do?
Laurie.
I'm sure you do. He says, hi, Matt. Go, legend is a legend. There we go.
Thank you, Laurie.
Okay.
Thankfully, Raj is on holiday. He's in Bali at the moment.
Really? Okay. There's no money in plumbing, as they say, is there? Okay. Also, one or two comments coming in. Bit of a few comics out there tonight. Look out for a late entrant to the island. I'm presuming the Love Island, or is it Desert Island? Barry Bosch could be in with a shout. That's what somebody said. I don't know about that, guys. I think that's stretching the truth there. But another one is some people out there, Paul Turner, he loves the T-shirts and he wants to know next time one of our sales guys calls on, can he have a couple, please? Okay, you can never keep everybody happy. Good question from Lee Nichols again. Can you set a service reminder on the 8000?
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. You heard it here first.
I think you can set, there's two different types. There are more options, in fact, that we've put in the menu for the service reminder
right.
to either run on the number of burning hours or specifically to set a date as well. So.
Okay. And of course, probably a service reminder is good for social housing, maybe local authorities, etc., where they need to do an annual service, private landlords, etc.
Exactly, Barry. So we've got the service reminder that I just mentioned then within both the 8000, but also within the Comfort Plus 2 RF programmable room thermostat. There's also a landlord function in there that enables the maintenance provider, whoever that might be, to set a date, and prior to that date, it will give the installer one of three options, either to disrupt central heating and hot water, so there's still some heat, some hot water, or to actually disable, in some cases, the hot water altogether. Yep.
Maybe one for you, Martin, I'm not too sure on this. Matt Jakeman has asked a good question for the future, really. Will the I-range follow suit soon with a style look?
Yeah, the intention is within Bosch. The present design of both the let's get this right, the I and the CDI Compact is what was internally called a skin design. So Bosch, Worcester Bosch, part of, always like to have their boilers looking the same, harmonised. So yes, the 8000 won't stay in isolation as the only one looking like this. The intention is it will wash through the entire range as the years progress, so they all have this same distinctive sort of identity.
Okay. Aaron Griffith has a question here. Do you have a new programmer stroke thermostat for this new model, which is as the RF2 Comfort, I'm presuming he's mentioning there? So again, a few questions we know on.
Yes, we do. So it's the Comfort 2 Plus RF. Have we got the key?
Where's the key in here?
So obviously they can see on the front of the boiler there's nowhere to plug in a receiver like the current range of boilers. So what we've come with is, it looks like a Game Boy cartridge. So this will plug into the bottom of the boiler. You put your batteries into the Comfort 2 and it'll pair itself up. Simple as that. It's paired. They're paired up in the box. The way you use it, your menu option structure, everything is exactly the same as a current Comfort 2 as well. So there's no surprises in there. So
as Saj says, we've got the Comfort 2 today, the programmable room thermostat with clip-in receiver. For compatibility with the 8000, however, we've got the Comfort Plus 2 RF, which the room unit is almost identical. Okay. It's just the receiver unit, the key that plugs into the bottom. And there's also some great features on the Comfort Plus 2, such as pressure indication. So you can actually get pressure indication on the front of the room unit. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Simon Law has an interesting question. To run it with an easy control, do you need the cartridge to plug in, I presume, into the boiler, and the stand for the thermostat to do the wireless communication?
Yes, so when you use it with the easy control, if you don't want to use the table stand, you can hardwire it in, just like you currently do with the classic boiler. If you do use it with the table stand, then you need to purchase the key and the table stand, which are both separate items. But while we're on this subject, there is a certain way you have to install the products. Do not plug the key in as soon as you take it out the box. We've had quite a few calls on that. I bet you guys come across it as well the first time round. My advice is, if you are installing that, give us a ring at technical support and we'll talk you through your first one over the phone. It might be a little bit long-winded at first, but once you get used to it, obviously it'll be second nature.
Okay, thank you. One of our colleagues, Terry Morgan has made an interesting point about a reversible collar possibility. I'm presuming, Terry, you don't mean the collar on your shirt. I think you mean the collar on the flue, so that's great. And I'd like to open that question to any of my colleagues.
Yeah, it's something we could do. I think the collar today is designed in such a way that it sits into the wall, which means if you turned it around the other way, it would be sitting out of the wall. Yeah, so it wouldn't work. Sorry, Terry. Yeah.
Okay, a question to our guests, Matt and Richard. There's a question come in from Paul Turner. The question is, in the future, will other colours be available and styles? So would you find that beneficial when you're speaking to a potential customer?
I think for myself, you look at modern kitchens where boilers in the UK are traditionally installed, or ones that are on show anyway. The black and the white casing, it kind of covers all bases, really. The only variations that I've asked myself is the side panels, whether it's worth with the white case to have just the white sides. I know obviously the Life does that, but it's a different coating. It's not the same look. I don't know what other colours there could be, because you go off black and white, there's that many different shades and variations of other colours, so you're never going to get a true colour. I think,
like you said, to have it installed in the kitchen, obviously if customers want to match it up to their kitchen units, but then obviously for you guys, it's virtually impossible. So like Rich said, I think the black and the white really cover all bases, really. Yeah. I mean, it's like any domestic appliance, isn't it? Black and white, possibly silver, but obviously another side panels are silver. But other than that, I don't think it's really feasible.
I think you're right that we chose the black and the white and those kind of combinations with the silver side panels for that good reason, that it kind of looks good in a number of different kind of properties, number of different designs. Question: are we going to do different colours in the future? Possibly.
Who knows?
I think as a first step, we didn't want to make it overly complex and confusing for installers to specify. We've got to be conscious of our merchant customers, of course. You know, I'm sure they would might have something to say if we had one boiler with 50 part numbers, all the different colours under the rainbow. But much the same as a car today, you can go online, you can specify, you know, the leather, the seats, whatever. Who knows in the future? Certainly, yeah.
Okay. Just going back to my colleague Terry Morgan's question about the reversible collar. Julian Bland has replied. I don't know if there's anything going on here, Terry, but he just replied, Terry, you're not just a pretty face. So, hey, I'm not too sure how to reply to that, Terry, but answers on a postcard. Paul Caton, very busy man. He's asking a good question, actually, and I'm not too sure who would like to take this up. Can we have an external one, lads? That's his question. Must be a need.
It's a good point. They are on sale in southern Europe, Italy, Spain, countries like that. It's quite common, actually, to have El Caso boilers. There, I think, is the Spanish wording for it. They're either sitting in a wall, rather like an electricity or gas meter can do, or they're on the wall, encased. But they, of course, have significantly nicer weather than us, and then they're not subjected to the frost and the dampness. But it's technically possible, and I agree. I think there is a place in the market for such an item. I am aware of some years ago, when we joined forces with Bolter oil boilers, they had an external wall-mounted oil boiler, and I had to go to one site in not the nicest of areas, and 2 of these boilers have been stolen overnight off the wall. Really? So that is the downside, that you know, they are a little bit more available to anybody who wants to nick one, I suppose. But I do agree, though, that there is perhaps an untapped market for a balcony or a externally mounted boiler, rather like oil-fired boilers do.
Yeah. Okay. Good question here from Oxyplum Limited. Is there going to be an app to learn the interface as you had with the iBoiler? Who wants to take that up?
I don't think we've planned an app, but we do have a series of YouTube videos that go into various aspects of commissioning, and also the use of some of the timer controls. Quite nice videos, CGI stuff, you know, so almost as, well, arguably as good as an app, really. But certainly, if that's something that installers or customers would find useful, then certainly we could develop something. Okay.
By the way, while we're on, other cameras on you, Colin, I don't know if you can go down to Colin's shoes. We've had some comments about his shoes.
Oh, right, yeah.
People wanted to know where you got them from.
My shoelace broke this morning, so that's why it's a bit small. But these are Clark's, but
really?
Other shoe providers are available.
Okay. Cuban heels there. On with the questions. Can the boiler automatically connect Worcester to Worcester head office, I presume, for guarantee repairs?
No, not currently. And of course, we'd need the permission of the customer to obviously set up that link. With the Bosch Easy today, there is a feature within that as part of the commissioning process, actually, that enables the installer to receive a notification if there is a problem with the boiler. So a similar feature is available within the Bosch Easy. Connectivity. Taking it one step forward into the future, it's likely we will have a key that we saw earlier that would enable connectivity and a potential for us within our service organisation to receive a notification that the boiler requires maintenance. Yeah, but certainly the Bosch Easy at the moment has a similar feature today.
Okay. Question here about, maybe one for you, Martin, because obviously we know that legislation in the future, there's a lot of talk in central government about legislation for the heating of homes in the UK. Are the new boilers set up for a green future, possibly hydrogen or electric, or is that something that we need to look at from a separate idea?
All of the boilers which we've had on sale for some years, all of the condensing boilers, can accept up to 20% hydrogen blend already. I presume the questions regarding hydrogen. There is also a certain element of natural gas which is injected with biogases, generally from anaerobic digestion systems. So they can accept today a small mixture of biogas and a larger mixture of hydrogen. We're involved with a site at Keele University, which starts around about September, where there's about 140 properties being converted to hydrogen, 20% blend of hydrogen. About 50 of those boilers are ours, and they are the current boilers that you could buy today. But much over a 20% blend, then no. We have developed a prototype hydrogen boiler here, which will run on 100% hydrogen, so it's totally carbon free. That will be going out to public trials in 2020 as well. But it will be a bespoke boiler. You would not be able to convert a current natural gas boiler to a 100% hydrogen fed boiler. You would, though, however, in our design, be able to run a hydrogen-prepared boiler on natural gas. And when the day comes to switch over to hydrogen, just a gas valve, a code plug, and a burner change, and it will then run on 100% hydrogen.
So is that a bit like the conversions of the early 70s where we went from town gas to natural?
Very similar, yeah. And you and I would have lived through that, of course, being old buggers like we are.
Absolutely.
But yes, they're not dissimilar to televisions, where they were HD ready. You couldn't get a HD program to watch, but they were, in our case, they will be hydrogen ready. And BEIS, one of the government departments, have encouraged us to design the boiler in this way so that we can start selling them at a date in the future yet to be defined, and then a switch over city by city, town by town. If you imagine if you did it the other way, the discussions initially were for the city of Leeds to be converted to hydrogen. So I think there's some 51,000 properties in Leeds. So if you converted the entirety of Leeds in a month, let's say, to hydrogen boilers, then installers like our colleagues here would have nothing to do for the next 12 years or something like that, other than the odd service. So this purchasing of hydrogen-ready boilers with a conversion, a smaller conversion, is the way that the government have asked us to look at designs.
And of course, here at Worcester, we're investing heavily into new products for that and in research and development.
We've got a new hydrogen laboratory here, and we're doing similar things for any oil installers watching. With bio and biokerosene. We've successfully had trials some years ago now, actually, with 50% blend of biofuel and kerosene. And we anticipate oil and gas both coming from carbon neutral sources in the future.
Okay. Maybe a question in a roundabout way to our installers, Richard and Michael. From a Michael Litherland, the question is, obviously you being customer facing, people don't care about fancy round edges, black cases and chrome flues. They want a reasonable price product, I presume it says at the end, that won't break the bank. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Personally, it's why not have both? You know, Worcester's the top end of boilers, let's put it that way. 9 years, which they've won the awards for. So you know it's going to be a boiler that is going to last. The guarantee lengths, and they are guarantees as well. So why not spend that little bit more, have the Worcester boiler, and now look what you get with the Worcester. You've got the style, you've got the life, you've got the design, and it's moving the market forward.
Yeah, to add on to that, I mean, obviously with the new range now, you've got 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 kilowatt boilers. They're going to cover literally every domestic property in the country. And in terms of, it's value over price, isn't it? It's, you know, if you look at price, you're looking short-sighted. You need to look at the value of the product and the lifetime value of that product. So for me, there's no more reliable boiler than Worcester. I
think it's not just the product, that you've got the value of the actual product on the day that you put it on the wall. Yeah. You've got the value of the backup from these guys.
Yeah, I was just
what they're investing in the future.
The after-sales service. How many technical departments are open till 8 p.m. in the evening? You know, helping installers, customers, repressurising boilers, setting up your controls. That's something what we pride ourselves on here at Worcester, is not just you're buying a top-of-the-range boiler, but the after-sales service you get with that boiler as well.
Okay. Question here. I know when you're into research and designing boilers, but it's also about the packaging as well. A question from Kieran Bradley. Really impressed with the new boilers, but he thinks the packaging could be better in terms of protecting the boiler. I'm assuming he's had an incident, I don't know. I've had 2 boilers with damaged casing so far, and they never ever had CDI Classics with a damaged casing. So I know we invest a lot in packaging, I know we do various tests, but obviously once it leaves our factory here in Worcester, we lose sort of control over it. Any comment, Colin?
Only it's disappointing to hear that you've had some problems there. I mean, the packaging has obviously been designed in such a way to ensure maximum protection throughout the kind of supply chain. We obviously do drop testing, to quite strict regulations. But certainly, if you've had damage there, then please get in contact with us and let us investigate how the damage perhaps occurred and perhaps how we can improve the packaging if that's what's needed to be done.
It's a difficult one because you have to balance out as well the protection of the boiler. You have to presume they are being handled correctly, perhaps through the distribution chain, and unfortunately that isn't sometimes always happening, as well as the environmental considerations of putting too much cardboard or whatever out there, which obviously we don't want to do. Yeah. And Colin's already mentioned, we push them off tables and things like that to make sure that the packaging will sustain damage, or rather the boiler won't sustain damage, the packaging will prevent it. We also put them on vans and lorries and drive them round country lanes and things, trying to rather reminds me of when I was an apprentice, and that happened to me on, I think, my second or third day at work, where I was bound together with gas fire tape and driven round a country lane at speed.
Really?
Yeah, yes, the good old days.
That wouldn't be allowed.
It wouldn't happen today.
But it turned you into the man you are, Martin.
Perhaps, yeah.
You know? So,
frightened.
Maybe not a bad thing, really.
But no, it is a concern, and we would, if they were, interestingly, I've been interested to know if they were actually from the same merchant and the same branch as well.
Okay.
Kieran, if you've still got those bits, I'm with you next week, I believe. I'll grab them from you and I'll get them up here and the guys can have a look at them.
You see, forever a customer comes first. Talking of customers, Neil Stocker has sent in a very interesting question, because I know when we visit friends' houses, you may have on your own house indeed, the question is, can customers stick the dreaded fridge magnet on the style case? And just by pure chance, I happen to have one here. And which Best Buy, 9 years running, I think it is. Tremendous. Can we still use the magnet?
Give it a try, Barry. I don't know. It's a steel front cover.
There you go.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
But I think you can you? It's not going to
give
the
it a try.
electrics.
You try one on here.
Only on the side, because obviously the front panel isn't.
But just to remember, this is a toughened kind of scratch-resistant perspex, backed with steel. So I guess it depends on the strength of the magnet you're using, to be honest. But we'll give it a try.
Okay.
Will it hold my recent concert tickets as well underneath there? No.
No.
There we go. A live test,
not
guys.
those magnets, anyway.
No fridge
Like
magnets, I'm
Stranger
afraid.
Things, that
I'm
was. You've
afraid.
been watching the new series. where the
great
magnets
series,
were-
that is.
Time is of the
Second
essence, guys, and we've just got one more question left, and I think it's a very good question. During the development, did we do much testing on the pressure sensor? A lot of other branded boilers have failures with sensors blocking up, etc.
Yes, we did. And to be honest, when we talked to installers some 4 years ago about the product and talked about the idea of including a pressure sensor, that was one of the first things they said to us. If it's going to be in there, make sure it's a quality one, make sure it's not going to be susceptible to blockages, make sure it's not going to stop the boiler from running if you get as low as 0.8 bar, which is, of course isn't that low. And I'm pleased to say that it is a quality sensor. It's one that we've used for many years in other markets. It's not going to block, and it will keep the boiler running down to as little as kind of 0.3 bar, I think. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much, and particularly thank you to Richard and Matthew for joining us this evening. And that's about it. I'm just going to really say probably the most important thing is thank you to you all for sending in your questions. I'm really sorry because time is of the essence and we can't answer physically everyone, but what we will do tomorrow, we will try to get back in touch with you and hopefully we'll be able to answer all of your questions that haven't been answered today. So thanks to the panel, but above all, thank you to you for taking part in the very first Worcester Bosch Facebook Live. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night.